Welcome to Zenterno Radio, where we drop truth gems all along the way. This is episode 34, and the title is A Further In-Depth Analysis of the World. Further In-Depth Analysis of the World, episode 34, Zenterno Radio. Let's go. So, how do we start with this? Further in depth. Well, if you've been listening to my podcast prior, I've been talking about the Freemasons. I have been talking about a lot of truth. This is all spiritual knowledge. It's a lot of, people say, red pill, awakening knowledge, things to get people seeing the truth, the souls to see the truth, and to step out of this bamboozled society that they got you hoodwinked. If you're just tuning into the media, you're going to be bamboozled. They will never tell you the truth. They will always keep you in a state, and you will always believe whatever they tell you. So the first thing I have to say to somebody who does not woke at all is stop listening to mainstream media. So that's your television, your radio stations. They're all paid for by these government organizations that are controlled by higher ups than the government. These elites, the global satanic elite. Okay, so that's the first key, because in doing so, you will then tune yourself back to nature, and you'll tune to a higher frequency going within yourself, as well as experiencing outside of yourself, which is the nature and the love and the proper community that you can see around you if you stop tuning into the lies that are being projected on your television screens, your computer screens, your internet, and the radio. All of that is being controlled by the global satanic elite. So I want people to start looking into the Freemasons more, because in order to understand the way the human world works, the controllers are all part of this organization called the Freemasons. Now, higher up, it goes deeper than just the Freemasons, but I want people to understand the first level of understanding up front of what a organization is. The Freemasons control your governments. And the Freemasons are basically all of your government officials are Freemasons. A lot of scientists, a lot of doctors, judges, all the type of people that are in the law, the society, it's all run by the Masonic Lodge. Okay, so, and understanding that, then you have to learn, what is this Freemason belief? What is this Freemason way of existence? Like, what is this about? Is this just about being a Mason to have architecture and build buildings and, planning, being like a planner and doing blueprints? I mean, part of it was that, and that's also part of how they came up with the whole concept as the Freemasons, because we used to just be Masons. So yes, going back in time, there were just Masons, and then the Freemasons, almost like a free agent, a freelancer, became an offshoot of course, regular Masons, and then they cultivated their own secret organization. But it's not even that, it's just that, because it's goes back to like Kabbalistic mysticism thousands of years ago, actually. So it's deeper than just all Masons and people who build buildings and stuff like that. Even though there is a connection to that, but that's a straight front. If it's just going to be Masons building things, that's a complete front. But what's also a front is the organization itself, from the first degree all the way to the 33rd degree, is also a front, because they'll cap people basically in these certain levels. Like there's certain degrees. So you could be an initiate in your first degree. You'll probably cap at a certain point. Like you won't go past a certain point. And to get to a 33rd degree, it is a master Mason, but even he is not the top. He's the top of that quote unquote organization, but he's also not really the top, because at the end, at that point, he gets introduced to Satan himself. A pure understanding of the devil and visitations with demonic entities, etc. And so what I mean is, he's not the top. He's not the top because, again, all humans are not the top. And this is why when we read in the scripture in Ephesians, it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and elites and whatever, in high places of darkness, principalities of darkness in high places." These are spiritual entities. These are not human entities. Okay, so that's a bit of a rundown on Freemasonry. And And I can even if we jump back actually to the first degree yet again, this is what's very hilarious to me. Somebody who wants to join this organization, to me, you got to be a complete fool, because they turn you into a slave. So see, everything is about being a follower. Like, I'm a leader. I could never be I'm not going to partake in any of this. I am the archangel. Like, that's my energy. I got that archangel energy, and I got that free energy. We come from the heavens. I don't deal with these type of people. But let's break down what a follower would do just to get into the Masons, to think that he's joining a nice brotherhood and he found his family. What they do to initiate you is they make you crawl on your hands and knees like a friggin' dog. They put a leash on your neck. And so they trance you around, they blindfold you too, and they make you walk around. They probably make you eat poop. They probably make you crazy stuff. They do some crazy stuff, and people wouldn't believe it, but they do some crazy stuff just to initiate you. They even cut you because you have to bleed and you have to sign a contract, basically say you're gonna die for this oath, because Freemasonry is taking oaths. So yet again, all I'm gonna say is that you have to be a complete idiot to even join this fraternity, and that's why your fraternities and sororities and your alpha, beta, thetas and whatever in university in America and all that shit is all connected to this nonsense. So you gotta be a complete fool to even go to the first, just to join and to be humiliated like that. You have to be a complete dumbass and a complete imbecile. But of course, they're going to bribe followers, because a follower is not a leader. So a follower will be like, well, I want money and I want power and prestige and I want to be able to move, So then that's how they get the followers. So they're going to be like, yeah, I'm joining the Freemasons. And so I'm going to humiliate myself, but I'm going to be part of this thing. But guess what? You take an oath and they have the right to exterminate you anytime they want if you tell the secrets. So when I said I tell the secrets, it also pops up to me. I'm remembering that there are a lot of symbolisms in this organization. So you have to watch people when they always in the public, if they're judges, again, scientists, lawyers, whatever, if they put the one finger in the whole shushing symbol before their lips, it means don't tell the secrets. If they put one hand in their coat, their lapel, put one hand covering, that's a Freemason gesture. If they shake your hand and they grab the index knuckle and they put the thumb over the index knuckle, that's a Freemason gesture. If they there's all these different, the 666, which is they tell you it's an okay sign. You put your index and your thumb together and then the other three fingers are hanging off. That's actually a 666. It's not an okay sign. They told you it's okay, but it means 666. If they do the pyramid over their eye, that's another Mason sign. So you have all these, there's so many symbols that people just don't even understand in that organization alone. Right. So that's breaking down a little bit of the Masons. So I want to go, that's a good wrap up right there. I want people to understand that actually empires control the world, equals timelines, equals /cultures. What do I mean by this? Well, if we go through history, we've had, from the book of Daniel, we're told we have both, basically, I believe it's 5 empires. We have Babylon, we have the Medes and the Persians, we have the Grecians, the Greeks, we have the Romans, the 4th empire, and then the 5th empire we have, they say, the church and state, which is connected, the Roman Empire, which really is the church and state. Yeah, it's connected because the Roman Empire became the Holy Roman Empire, and it became church and state. And we also had the British Empire in our modern time, the past at least 400 years. And in these timelines, empires control the world. And what we mean by that is that's truth. They control the culture, so the language that's spoken. For the past 400 years, the British have actually been in very powerful position. They've had the British Empire. This is why we speak English today. Prior, the last empire was Rome, so they used to speak Latin. And again, everybody spoke Latin, even if you were in Egypt or other places, Greece, whatever. You have to speak Latin because that was the ruling empire. When the Greeks ruled, everybody spoke Greek. When the Persians ruled, everybody spoke the Persian language. When the Babylonians ruled, everybody spoke Sumerian and then the Babylonian language. So these are the empires that run the world in timelines. But the timeline we're at the end of this we're at the complete end of the ages. And that's why there's a huge shift going to be taking place right now. And the ascension is coming. But we are still in the last grip or grasp of the British Empire, hence why we have laws that are still passed down to this day in all our nations that follow the British law, such as C-Zenz Law 1666, Act of 1666, which brought forth the law that stated basically if you do not claim that your citizenship or your basically your sovereignty, that I'm a free living breathing man or woman, you are declared dead and lost at sea, and the government can own all your properties and assets and control everything. And it's amazing when I do some research on this that in 1666 there was also a great fire in London. So I'm not sure if the Queen, I can't remember the Queen's name, Queen Victoria or Queen Anne or Queen whoever it was back then. There's this great fire of London. It burns 85% of the, or 80% or something like that of the city. They rebuild the city, and all the inhabitants have to now live in those buildings that the government builds, and they own everything. So now they've lost their sovereignty. They've lost their own freedom of ownership. And the government and the Queen, now she owns the properties. And ever since 1666, which I find is a very funny year with the 666, ever since 1666 with the C-Zenz Act implemented, it's funny that we've been having this system that we're born into, that we don't fully own our homes and our houses and our property. Why? Because when we register things, we don't actually own these things, right? We're registering to the government. The government actually owns the numbers, the serial numbers, the social security, social insurance numbers, all across these countries. And everybody is born into a straw man and these fake numbers and fake names and fake identity. We think that we're free, but we're actually not. And when we waste our time for money, we're living in an indentured slavery system that is called the matrix financially, but also physically, because we waste time to get money to keep us in a rat race of a loop that you can't get out of. And we're always in debt running this stupid race. This is why we need to wake up. Because of stupid things like this, we have to say, well, and then people are always going to argue like, you need to, well, we got to make, how are we going to live then? How are we going to do this? But it's not about how we're going to do this. You got to ask the other question. The question is, you're right. How are you going to do it otherwise? Think of something otherwise of what you're doing, of what the matrix is. There is a way, right? There is a way to live like the animals live. It's just natural. Who's to say that that's wrong? Who's to say that I want to have sovereignty of my own domain and my own area? Who's to say that that's wrong? So we need to wake up as a society, as a species, as a light being entity now, because really the ascension is on our heels anyways, and we're going to transform and be not in the system that we find ourselves in anyways. So So just recapping back that why we are still born, or how the British Empire is still in power today. We're actually still we're still born in this indentured slavery. And the reason being is because there's a straw man created when we're born. We have all these numbers that are given to us, again, the social security, social insurance numbers, etc., identifiers that the government makes money off of. Our birth bond, we actually have a birth bond, and our birth certificate also is owned by the government. They make money off of our straw man. It's a fake identity of us, a copy of us that's not alive. It's a permanent debtor, and it stays in debt, and that's why they say that we are in debt. And so we continually run this rat race, or that hamster wheel, and you can't get out of it. It's just a damn loop. Okay. So what we need to do is really just got to wake up out of these situations and figure out ways of becoming more natural, living like the elements, living like nature itself, that's kind of the focus of that. You're like, how do you get out of this? You just got to shift and say, well, what is not in that? Well, look at nature. Nature was never part of this. That's the answer. The answer will always be nature. And that's going to set humanity free if they want to wake up. It's really simple. It's simple. It's difficult. It is what it is based upon who wants to believe what and whatever. For me, it's simple because I already made that choice. And I hope it's simple for you too. So the culture, yeah, the timeline, like I said, yeah. And we're also it's still the British because we still speak the language, right? So that's how they're still in control. You don't need to have an emperor, with this iron fist in this place, and we all like, oh my God, we're scared of him. It's not like that. An empire is an empire. That's just controlled. It's finances. It's the way, the structure. It's the laws, and it's how cultures move and everything. So it's been like that for at least 400 years, and it is what it is. So jumping to the next point. The satanic, I want people to understand, what is the satanic global elite? Well, these are your what governments, okay? They are the leaders in your governments. And the only way we know this now, it's funny that it took, again, 2020 was an awakening point. A lot of us were awake prior to that. A lot of us who are spiritual understand all these things. But we just couldn't say why or couldn't fully say, but we were always awake to a degree. But 2020, as a year we call it, was so deep and spiritual because the Most High had to have had a hand in that, because it totally shifted the consciousness. And now everybody who was awake is fully awake and can see, wow, these are the demons and the devils. We know who we're fighting. We know who orchestrated all these things, all these events. And then we have the other people who are still in the old paradigm, and they can't make heads or tails. They can't see a difference. They can't think that the government could be evil. They can't see anything. So to me, those people are lost souls. And what you gonna do for them? We can shine our light, and if they resonate, then that's good. If they don't, then boo-hoo, so sad. It doesn't matter, because the Most High will have to do away with you if you don't repent. It is the way it is. This life or the next life, etc. So they truly, I want people to understand, they do worship this thing called, and there's so many names for Satan, but Satan, Saklas, Nebro, Yaldabaoth, Devil. You got all these different gods like Mammon and Baal and Belial, and a lot of these names are just demons, Azazel, and it goes on and on. There's so many names for these evil ones. But the point is, their God is this void, this dark energy, which is really the void. And they appease their God by blood sacrifice. That's just the way it works. They worship a God who desires blood sacrifice. So that's why things are the way they are in the world. It doesn't mean, the world is crazy, and this is why people think the world's crazy. No, it's these individuals who worship a demonic entity, a maniacal entity called Satan, right? Who wants blood sacrifice. That's it. So that's why all of the sacrifice of innocents, the children, the random civilian on the planet, different countries, it doesn't matter, because they keep doing it, and they orchestrate everything from the world wars, World War I, II, 9/11, to now the COVID-19, the Corona bull. You understand? They did it all. They orchestrated it all. The same people who run all of this are doing this exact horrific things and blood sacrifice. So that's why knowledge is power. And so once you understand all this, then you can wake up and you say, you got to pick a side. You got to choose, and you got to say, as the scripture says, choose you this day whom you shall serve. See, David said, I will choose the Lord. I choose the Most High. I choose the universe. I choose nature, that right way, the light. You want to be with these dark ones? Then go ahead. That's your choice. Now, as a light being, I'll say, don't do that. Don't go that way. But the choice is up to you, right? And to each individual soul down here, make that choice. So we need to be in the light, though. We've got to be, because this void is about to come to close. As the book of Revelation says, Satan knows his time is short. He's down here and he's scrambling And he's scrambling more like than I've ever seen, because there's so much happening wickedly that you can't make that up. So the prophecies are unveiling regardless if somebody's pulling strings or not. Satan is really scrambling because it's really the end, and he's got to do this, got to do this, got to do all this crazy shit is happening because he's trying to get that last hold on the world, but he can't because he's losing grip of the world. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So I also did want to mention people like the Rothschilds, and I want to mention the Rockefellers, the supposed Illuminati bloodlines, right? The Lee family, Merovingians, Astor, Bundy, Onassis, all this stuff, Kennedy, they say all these names, right? The 13 bloodlines. Shout out to Fritz Springmeier, because I learned from a lot of these older people that broke a lot of this stuff down a long time ago, and this is why we have to just shout it out at the rooftops and keep spreading truth, because it's necessary. So those elites, they're actually even, I want people to realize that they're trillionaires when it comes to the humans. They're trillionaires. They're beyond the billionaires, but they'll never tell you that, and they'll never show the trillionaires. You'll never hear Rothschild speak publicly on any media format. Why? Because he's part of this shit. They control this shit. They endorse this shit. They sponsor this shit. So we have to understand that. When you understand that, the billionaires like Elon Musk and the Bezos and Bill Gates and Trump, they're like nothing to him, to these people with trillions of dollars, man. Really endless amounts of money, right? Endless amounts of power, and that's how they get the power that they do, again. But their time is short because Satan's reign is coming to an end. That's why I don't really want to get into even talk about the Rothschilds too much, because really it's a spiritual war, and I like to talk about origin points. I don't like talk about, look, this guy. It's like, it's not him. It's somebody else in the back. It's somebody else behind that. And it's really Satan, the dark archons who fell down thousands of years ago. They control the world. And as some of the Gnostic texts said, that they supposedly may have created some of the world, or created some of the entities down here. Now, they're also, speaking of creating entities, they have done that. They have created clones. They have created entities that infiltrated humanity, so they look like human, but they're not humans. They might be half human. Cain's bloodline is a half human, half demon. So a lot of these entities are not even human. They're actually half demon or full demon, but they have a guise of a human face, human body, sitting in an avatar, but the real consciousness is actually a devil. So that's what we're fighting. Yet again, Ephesians, you wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and high places of darkness. This is what we're talking about. So, yeah, and I'll also point out, because I wrote this before too, the Pope, the Vatican, they're all part of that system too. Okay. And one last pointer is that we need to start taking back our words. So when they came up with the terminology and said Illuminati, really what they did was take it from us, the archangels. They took that from us, because the archangels are the Illuminati, you know. But that's Latin language to say illumined. So we could just say the illumined ones. You know, we're the Illuminati. We're the enlightened ones. We're the illumined. So they take our words all the time. And like Satan does, always flips everything. So we need to take power back. And when you take power back, you destroy the devil. You destroy the darkness. So none of this stuff has any impact on the soul that has made the choice, I have power. When you say I don't have power, then you don't have power. And that's why belief is everything, and knowledge of self is everything. So when you have knowledge of self, you have power, and you can push through the demons. As the scripture says, resist the devil and he shall flee from you. That's all you need to do. Knowledge of self, resist the devil, do a little research, but understand yourself, understand your purpose, understand your gifts, talents, help your brothers and sisters on the earth. That's what we're meant to do down here. We're meant to expose the devil and shame the devil and tell the truth. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Right? And as long as we're doing that, we're in divine alignment, and everything is going to work out in the end. So this has been Zenterno Radio, a further in-depth analysis of the world. We'll see the next episode whenever it is. I don't do timelines, but the next time of motivation or inspiration that hits, I will do another episode. So this is, again, episode 34. You've been listening to a further in-depth analysis of the world. Zenturno Radio. Subscribe to us on zenturnomusic.com as well as Zenturno Music on YouTube channels, and check out our work, music, and artwork, and all type of stuff that we're doing. Stay tuned for another episode sometime soon. Peace, shalom to the family worldwide. Thank you guys for listening, and share with all your family and friends if it means something, if it inspires you. Salute, peace, and shalom.